Audio is not my strong suit. Especially with a voice like this, there's not really much I can do audio-wise to fix my voice. You know what's hard is making a video that might be unexpected, but comes from the heart, to have an opinion on a subject that most people probably wouldn't share that opinion. It's hard because you've got no foundation to build from. If you think about the atheists who started the atheist movement in social media, I mean actually began it, and then you compare that to what atheists today who join the community have, the knowledge that they were pulling from was very much internal, or they had to go seek it out from other sources. It was much harder to find, whereas nowadays it's there, it's on the tip, you know. Before you even become a YouTuber, you've already found out about all these arguments because they're all so readily available now. And it's the same with social justice warriors. When people first started talking out about social justice warriors, it must have been quite difficult. And if you look back at those early videos, a lot of comparisons were made to the religious, simply because that was at that point the standard. Now nowadays you can compare what people now, like the alt-right or whatever the new target is, you can compare that to social justice warriors, because we all know what a social justice warrior is now. It's really easy to do the research and find these things out. But when you first start talking about a subject, and obviously it's the same for the other side, it's harder because you don't have as much support that you know is there. Now obviously you know that the support exists, but it's not making itself known. There are people there who share your opinion and maybe are much more educated on the topic, but it's much harder to find those people, to find those voices in order to stand alongside and help you. And you know, I've never in my life understood the support of a community, really. I find it much more appealing, you know, to find out more about myself, really. Can I stand alone? If every other human being on the planet died and I was forced to live, to survive, would I be able to do it? In any situation that I stand in, if I am the only person and I still think I'm right, do I have what it takes to stand on my own 2 feet and speak the truth? I'd like to think that I do, and I've never been a fan of circle jerks. If you put me in a group of people, I'll try find something that I disagree with somebody about. Now, I'm not saying that I do this every time. Usually I'll just sit quietly and think about the differences myself. But I'd much rather hear an alternate opinion and have that discussion. Like, why are we different? Why do you think the way you do, and why do I think the way I do? And so I'll seek out controversy. I'll seek out opposing opinions, because the more I understand about how other people think, the more I understand about the world. So for me, it's twofold. When I question things, it's not anything to do with changing my own beliefs. I'll change my own beliefs in my own time based on the evidence I've found. I'm not going to change my own beliefs because I've questioned an individual on why they think the way they do. One individual will not have any impact other than to maybe lead me to research something a little more. Do you understand? So when I question things, all I really want to know is, why do you think the way you do? Let's discuss you. And then when I share my own opinions, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just an individual and I got banned from Facebook because I called myself No One Special. The channel is not about me, but when I share my opinions, it's just to let you know that there are people who think like me, whether that's right or wrong. So obviously I'm talking about the veganism, because I find it hard to find sensible voices on either side of the subject. And I know they're there. They're just not popular voices, and so they're much harder to find. Most people who talk about meat talk about the nutritional value of why we should eat meat. And obviously this is old-fashioned science. If the funding was available, we could easily create meat in a lab. And when you look at all the meat alternatives, there are lots, and they are varied, and I've never tried a single one of them. But I know that they exist. And if more people were buying them, then the prices would obviously go down. But the vegans don't understand so many of the issues, and they'll point so heavily into an emotional void where there's nothing but heartstrings that are just pulling, you know. I saw a vegan documentary that explained to itself that if we released all the cows, we'd need an entire new planet. The amount of vegetation that these animals take, if we weren't killing them as regularly and as systematically as we do, they would literally take over the planet. There would be no space for any other animals. Not just the food that they eat, but the amount of space that they take up. Now that's just one small thing, and I know what vegans will say, they just laugh at me. But what really is their solution to that? Just that one example, and that is literally just one example, and it's not the best one. I never write a script because what I say comes from my heart, because I don't mind being wrong. I've never had a problem with being wrong. I'm not trying to make a documentary here. I'm just having my voice. I'm saying, look, this is how a certain population, however small that is, it might literally just be me. I might stand alone on this subject. You can have so much of a say in the comments section. I apologise for my lisp. If it annoys me, I know for a fact it must be annoying you. You can get your point understood to a certain degree in the comments or on a Facebook post. You can have these conversations in areas like forums, but in order to really be understood, sometimes you do need to make a video. My first video, the Name a Trait video, was absolutely just a reaction. And I 100%, I agree with you. Most of what I said, upon reflection, if you're going to just read it or listen to it, it's not the best argument, is it? There are a lot of flaws in what I was saying, and I'm willing to accept that, but let's discuss it. Don't just say, oh, you know, you can't say. One person said to me, you said there's no such thing as rights, and then a couple of sentences later you said this is why we have rights. Yeah, I was saying there's no such thing as physical rights. Like in the physical reality of existence, there's no such thing as rights. But in society we do have rights, and that's just an absolutely stupid comment for anyone to make. The part that I responded to I had seen once previously, and it was my second time through. I just said whatever I felt in that moment. So if I didn't understand the arguments 100%, bear in mind I've never heard these arguments before. Okay? I'm new to this whole thing, and all I'm trying to say is that people like me exist, and I am not convinced. It wasn't an attack on that video's creator. It wasn't the be-all and end-all argument to #name a trait. It was a meat eater's reaction to that video, and that's all it was. I also got criticism for my next one, reading vegan comments, where I was told that my arguments didn't make sense. They weren't fleshed out. I basically just took the like top 4 or 5 questions, the top 4 or 5 comments, and just read through, and gave my response to them as I went along. You know, there was no script. I don't script any of this because I'm not an actor. So if there is emotion, that's real. I'm not a character. I'm just a real person. Why is the channel called Hysteria? Because that's what I'm dealing with. And just like every other fake news channel or whatever they want to call themselves, they've all come up with really funny names. I haven't thought of a funny name, so I've just, you know, it's like where it says insert title, like the default text is Hysteria, and what you do is you delete that and you write in BBC News or CNN or, you know, The Amazing Atheist or whatever else. I just couldn't think of one, so I left it as the default, which is Hysteria. Okay? Does that make sense? This is what I'm dealing with. It's not who I am, although I do bring an element of hysteria with me. It's not me who's showing it, it's you guys. You're the ones that are getting hysterical because I'm not part of your circle jerk, because I don't understand it. So I'm asking questions, and that bothers you. So I was asked to write a script, and here it is. Why do I eat pig but not my dog? The pig is more intelligent than my dog. They are both social creatures capable of high emotional states. Pigs can be pets and dogs can be meat. So why specifically will I eat this particular pig but never my dog? Because the pig is owned by a farmer who raised the pig as food, just like a pet shop raises mice for snake food. That's the difference. Is it cruel to eat the pig? No, because the pig is already dead. I did not raise it. I did not slaughter it. I bought it from a shop. Would I ever kill and eat an animal? Yes, if it were necessary for my survival. Is it okay to kill animals if they are not necessary? Yes, because this is how the economics of the farming industry works. Animals, just like any other product, must have a regular turnover that produces profit, or else the business will collapse. Therefore, in order to have meat when it is necessary, we must continue to produce it when it is unnecessary too. That's capitalism, and it's how society functions. What will happen if the meat industry died out? Well, if it happens slowly over time, there will be little in terms of negative fallout. However, if it happens overnight, the whole of Western society will collapse along with it. Do I care about animal cruelty? There is nothing I can do about it. Your vegan propaganda has had the opposite effect on me than you would have liked. I am now completely numb to it. Animal cruelty is not as widespread as you think it is. There are sick humans in the world who are willing and able to inflict harm on humans and animals alike. This is not the fault of the meat industry. Obviously, child abusers will seek out jobs working with children just as much as animal abusers would seek out jobs working with animals. Therefore, you are looking at the problem upside down. Would I switch places with an animal raised for slaughter? Yes. The risk of being a victim of animal cruelty is a lot less than the risk I face as a human of being a victim of harm or being forced to die in the most horrible way I can think of. Animals on farms get a predator-free existence with plenty of food and company and care, including medication if needed, and then a sudden death. I would take that over being forcefully kept alive for 90 years and then left to die of thirst. Did I miss anything out? Eating animals is nothing to do with the traits of the species or any of that. Humans as a whole will eat anything, even other humans. Specific humans have different tastes, and specific animals are raised as food. Pigs can be pets. Nobody would ever dream of eating a pet pig. Dogs can be food. I would never even consider eating my dog, even if he was the only meat available. Do I give a flying fuck if vegans think this is logically inconsistent? No. I also don't give a shit if strangers are murdered while I sleep at night. It sucks, but there's nothing I can do about it. This is the real world. You can argue logic with most things, but this isn't just black and white. We don't eat every single pig. We don't eat every single cow or every chicken. Some are raised happily as food. Where can we meet in the middle and come together? Animal cruelty should never happen, ever. There is never any reason or excuse for it that can be justified. I will stand by your side against specific practices, not the meat industry as a whole. If you want my support, then why not start with Thailand's underground dog trade? These people snatch family pets off the streets and force them into confined spaces so badly that it often breaks their bones. If you really care about animal abuse, then let's stop generalizing as if a cow in a field is some kind of problem. Let's focus on the real issues.